Penn State has a tremendous partnership with IBM. They hire hundreds of our graduates. They support our faculty, they support our research, they give to the university. And Doug Baylog, who's their general manager for Power Systems, is our liaison. He's a general manager down in Dallas and has been a real leader in the creation of this partnership. But Rich here on the ground has really done a great deal of work, and we're really appreciative of the opportunity cost of you being here and the travel challenges you've had getting to State College. We're really very, very excited about you being here. There's two sponsors of this event. One is Invent Penn State. As you know, Dr. Barron has been a real advocate for Penn State playing a role in economic development. He's advocating for us to look at entrepreneurship among our faculty, our staff, and our students. He's looking at building partnerships with industry like today, and he's looking at driving our local economy here in State College as well as across Pennsylvania with all our campuses. So he's been a really strong supporter of this and helped fund today's event and the award. The other sponsor has been the EdTech Network. And within the Invent Penn State, one of the sectors that Penn State is looking at is expanding is in the area of educational technology. I mean, you all can see examples across higher education and K through 12 where technology is improving instruction and support for students, whether it's VR or simulations or 24/7 tutoring, different technologies that are helping our students be successful. And so this educational technology area, we're looking at expanding that sector through faculty and staff, I'll show you in a second here, through focusing on opportunities among collaboration with companies and our entrepreneurs here at Penn State and across the area. Looking at development of educational technology solutions. Renat will be talking a little bit about some of the challenges in the World Campus, but also there's opportunities across instruction at Penn State as well as student services for us to improve using technology. And then finally, we're trying to support economic development. 85% of the workforce in this region are either hired by Penn State, the school systems, or government. We need to generate more industry here for internship opportunities for students, for employment opportunities for spouses, for collaboration between the university and various companies. So we're really trying to attract more industry to this region as well as create industry. So this effort with EdTech is really holistic. We're looking at kind of a systems approach with faculty, staff, students, entrepreneurs, companies, and we hope that you become engaged. There's a lot of opportunities for faculty and staff to participate, and there's just a listing of a few. I'm going to put the website up in a minute, but I'd encourage you to go to that website and join the EdTech Network, and you begin to get information about all the initiatives that we have going on that probably would be helpful to your particular research or your interest in your responsibilities. And then finally, we hope that students join also. We just held a hackathon for students with Watson. There's a lot of programs that we're doing to support students in this area also. So this is our website. We hope that you go to the website, look at some of the resources, and join us. And again, I really appreciate your time. I hope that you find today to be valuable. I believe that when we hold this next year, we'll have hundreds and hundreds of people. So I really appreciate you being the brave pioneers to look at this opportunity. And I think it's just the beginning of something that's going to be huge. Thank you so much and have a great day. And Rich, again, thank you for your leadership.
The question that comes to mind for me is, well, why are we here to begin with? What's the reason for putting together something like the Nittany Watson Challenge? And I'll tell you, my view on this, and from what I've seen of the potential of AI has the potential to be a true game changer. If you think about how the internet is the way we live and work, I look at AI and say, it's going to have minimal, 10 times the impact, more than that, than what the internet had. And I think it behooves us, Penn State, to be a leader in that, to get out in front of it and say, well, how can we leverage AI and paint the picture in the right way, and to create an environment where we're leveraging it to help us do more, to help us be more efficient, and to accomplish more with what we're doing today. IBM predicts that digital agents will be a $15.8 billion market by 2021. That's the other thing. This is going to happen very fast. We're not going to have the luxury of the slow pace of the way the internet changed things. This is going to happen much faster. So we have to we have to get on this bandwagon quickly. I call this the Watson effect. So these are just some titles out of some press releases that IBM has released in the last few months. IBM Watson is the brains behind the Weather Channel's new Facebook Messenger bot. I don't know, many of you might not know this, but IBM purchased the Weather Channel. Weather being a key part of the AI picture, and if you just think of what weather impacts so many other things, so it was a strategic purchase on their part. But these are just some examples of the impact that AI is having. October 16th, I bring this up, IBM announces partnerships with Blackboard and Pearson to integrate AI into their solutions. I believe within the next 2 years, every ed tech company is going to have an AI strategy, and if they don't, they're going to be behind. So already IBM is forming partnerships with other companies around our ed tech space. So we have to be looking at this too and say, one of the questions we're asking ourselves in the EdTech Network is, how can we help be a facilitator out there with other ed tech companies to help them figure out, well, how do you begin to think about integrating AI into your solution? And of course, we're big users of Canvas. The company Instructure owns Canvas. So you start thinking about the connections. How can we maybe potentially partner with Canvas in figuring out how AI integrates with them? Salesforce just recently announced Einstein. For those of you who know Salesforce, it's one of the leading CRM systems out there. They now have their AI component. Again, every other CRM company has to be thinking, well, what's my AI strategy? And finally, this is a quote from Google's CEO, and I want you to just draw your attention to the last sentence. We will move forward from a mobile-first to an AI-first world. Their prediction is this is just a mechanism to deliver things. The mobile phone is actually going to go away. We're just going to be talking to something to help us guide us through our day. We're not going to be picking up a device. So just think of that and what kind of change how that impacts us. So this brings us to the Nittany Watson Challenge. What are we trying to do? First and foremost, we're trying to bring together this capabilities. We're trying to bring together faculty, staff, and students to look at how this technology can help advance us. How can this technology help to improve world campus capabilities? When you start looking at the application of AI, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to begin plugging it in so that we can increase efficiencies and allow us, the people that are doing the day-to-day jobs, to do things even better. So we're going to be looking at how do we plug in AI into World Campus and focus on the student experience. Primary goals, what are the innovations up there that AI can impact? We have academic experience up there, but I'll say it's more around the student experience. How can we improve that student interaction with every aspect with the university? And do this throughout the Commonwealth, so it's not just at UP, it's all the campuses, it's World Campus. We're hoping that this will spark research and business ideas, that we'll actually start seeing how AI could be applied, and this will generate even more ideas. And then identify AI applications that could increase, again, the efficiencies really at World Campus, looking for places where there might be bottlenecks and how we can leverage AI to free up those issues that we have today. We're going to break this up into 2 stages. The first stage is going to be prototype development stage. So what we're going to do, the process is going to be teams will submit their ideas, and we'll pick 10 ideas, and we're going to fund those 10 ideas to say, okay, we love these ideas, go build a prototype. And we're going to have, IBM has graciously offered a pool of resources to help those teams get to that prototype stage. So we're going to have help along the way, and we're also going to have subject matter experts for those that might need to say, well, I want to do something for the university, but I'm not exactly sure how your process works. We're going to be providing that expertise. And then the second stage, we're going to pick 5 of those 10 teams and say, of these 5, we're going to provide another round of funding and say, could you go build a minimal viable product? So take that prototype to the next level. So those are the 2 stages. Now, if I go away from the screen, you guys will all know what that just, you know exactly what that's meant to say, right? No, I'm just kidding you. But I don't want to focus too much on it, only to say, you see there's stage 1 and stage 2. Those are the stages I just talked about. We think there's going to be opportunities for the ideas that come out of this are going to have potential to apply for COIL RIG grants. Those are research innovation grants. So it's kind of another stage in the process. The key point is here, this Nittany Watson Challenge isn't the end game. This is the start to applying for research innovation grants. It's the start to coming up with research projects ideas. It's the start for possibly business startup ideas, and there's other funding mechanisms for that. So this is just the beginning of a multi-step process. What we're trying to do in the EdTech Network is connect those dots. These are just some key dates. The second one, February 3rd, of course, first one is today. This is the kickoff, 19th and 20th. The February 3rd date is your next key date. That's where we have to have the ideas submitted by. So again, it's just, there's details on the website. Brad has done a really good job of creating a Canvas course around this so you know exactly what's expected. And just make sure that you have your dates in by that time frame. And then there's the other key dates, February 24th, winners will be announced. And then it goes all the way to July 31st for that second group that's building their MVPs. We tried to put some logic around this, a framework, and say, okay, if we're focusing on the student experience, what's the life cycle of that experience? And it basically goes through these four stages. You're a prospective student, you're a matriculated student, so have you applied but you're not yet accepted. You're an engaged student, which means you're here, you're engaged, and then you're a graduating student. So we thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we broke out the various use cases into those stages of a student? Now, students might come up with a better idea, and that's okay, but we're just trying to provide an initial framework. And around that framework, we've provided some examples of some use cases where we think it might be nice to apply AI, but these are just examples. We fully expect that people that are closer to the issues and the problems, et cetera, may come up with better use cases than we've come up with, but we wanted to throw some out there to kind of seed your thinking. Now, the first thing you might think of when you look at these two is, he forgot to highlight the third one, right? Nope, didn't forget. Those first two are highlighted because these are world campus challenges that we would love to see teams try to tackle, because there's some real issues, some real problems. And one of the things we're trying to do is let's get some let's really focus on some problems we have today and see if we can solve. We don't expect to solve the whole thing. I think one of the challenges of the teams is to figure out what piece can you carve out to show the benefit of AI and then to grow it from there. Obviously, if you pick a challenge that's too big, it'll be more difficult to succeed. So it'll be picking that right spot. So you got a transfer credit challenge. That's pretty self-explanatory, students trying to transfer credits. You got this idea of student concierge or a student assistant. How can you provide AI to help students maybe through certain processes? And then there's a marketing assistant. The idea there is how can Watson be used to maybe do a better job of marketing to specific students that would be a really good fit for Penn State. The ones in yellow, Renata's going to talk a little bit more in detail after me, just to give you kind of the story behind some of those, so you kind of know what the more details of what the challenges are all about. Course scheduling is the third. So there's top 3 World Campus challenges that we'd love to see addressed. That's the third one, is course scheduling. Clubs, organizations, you could imagine there's so many clubs and organizations here. Oftentimes it's hard for an incoming student to figure out, well, which one would be a good fit for me. So maybe there's an application for that. Lion Path Assist, we just thought we'd throw that up there. Thought that might be something that people might find interest. Student Engage, is there a way to increase students' awareness around what we just call meaningful engagements, scholarships, internships, maybe undergrad research opportunities, whatever that engagement might be. And then a mentor match. Wouldn't it be interesting if you could leverage AI to try to match somebody who's, say, a senior, to help an incoming freshman kind of learn the ropes really quickly? And I won't go through all these, but smart job search, that's pretty self-explanatory. A resume evaluator, how could you use AI to help students prepare something better as they're graduating? and then interview rehearsal. Those are pretty self-explanatory. So today, kickoff day, what are we trying to achieve today and tomorrow? Number one, learning opportunities. As I said, our partner IBM has brought a lot of IBM resources to the table. We're going to be conducting workshops, particularly tomorrow. So there's a great opportunity to do some hands-on learning. Idea generation. Rose is going to be kicking off idea generation exercises this evening, but she's really going to get into the meat of it tomorrow in a design thinking workshop in the morning. So a point in that, there'll be in parallel, there'll be IBM workshops and ideation, but then those IBM workshops are going to get repeated in the afternoon. So if you wanted to do the idea part, you don't have to worry about missing the workshops. Team formation. There'll be exercises for teams to come together and form, but there also is going to be an online opportunity to do that as well, and I'll share that in a minute. And then community. We just think it's kind of interesting, and I think it'll be nice to see a common thread. Everyone's here because we're interested in what AI could do. So I see this as the start of building an AI community within Penn State. I just said this team, actually I mentioned team formation and just wanted to point out it can consist of one person or many. We really think the power of a team is really bringing together faculty, staff, and students, or some combination. And then the key roles, not to be confused with skills, right? We've got our skills tags, but key roles are team lead, technical lead, and somebody who understands what you're trying to do, the subject matter piece of it. So we see those as three key roles. These are just some Slack channels we've already set up, so it's a good way to connect and communicate. The account is edtechnetwork.slack.com. You have your hashtags Watson Immersion, Nittany Watson, and Teams, and you can see what the purposes of those are. Additional resources, most of you probably know about the website. There's the URL for the Canvas course, but I expect a lot of you probably were already into that as part of the registration. And then the Twitter handle, psuedtech.net, another good way to communicate. All right, now I'll invite Renata to come up and tell the story around some of these use cases that are challenges that we're looking at for World Campus.
Sir, can I ask a question?
You sure may, yes.
I just want to know, what do you define AI? You're talking about machine learning, you're talking about natural language processing, text, voice. You say AI, but
yeah.
That's a big spectrum.
It is a big spectrum, and it's a good question. So when you look at, the reason we're using the bigger term is because the answer to your question is yes, we're going to use machine learning, natural language processing, image processing. There's a whole set of Watson services, and that's why we have so many from IBM. In the workshops that are coming up tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the different Watson service. So your idea might use just the natural language processing. But chances are you're probably going to use some combination of services to accomplish whatever your idea is. And the other thing we're working on, and it's not in place yet, but it will be soon, is implementing Watson Explorer, which is another piece of this puzzle, which helps go out and collect both unstructured and structured data to bring it in as part of your idea and be able to apply those services. But that's a good question, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.